Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning and happy Wednesday. It is a rainy day here in Massachusetts and a sloppy morning on Wall Street. Sloppy at best. All right, y'all, quick sound check. Make sure we are rocking and rolling. And we'll do the typical pre-market prep, and then I'll probably hang out for about an hour or so. See if we can't find ourselves a good trade. But all right, first things first, we got the S&P futures here. The big level I want to give you, 50.90. And I think you want to be a little patient, a little careful to the upside if we can't get back above that 50.90. All right, structure's not the greatest here. We have a -4 on the big three score. You've got the big three sell signal, 8 EMA under the 21, 21 under the 50. Not a very bullish looking hourly chart. And then we do got a few squeezes. We got a 4-hour, a 2-hour, a 15, and the 5. And then we'll jump over to the NQ, QQQ futures. And they're down about 0.5%, and it's a little bit of the same. Not a very good looking hourly chart. Big three sell signal, 8 EMA under the 21 EMA, 21 under the 50. And then for squeezes, we have a daily squeeze, a 4-hour, a 2-hour, a 15, and the 5. All kinds of squeeze action. And then on the other end, you've got the Bitcoin futures. And not too much to see here. Business as usual. Bitcoin futures up 6%. Beautiful structure. Buy signals on every time frame imaginable. Very, very impressive. Let's go check the YM, the Dow Jones futures. And things are pretty sloppy here as well. Daily 15-minute, 5-minute squeeze, and an hourly sell signal. And then last but not least, the small caps, the RTY. It's a little bit cleaner, but not the greatest. And then, of course, bigger picture, right? Things we all know. It's a bullish market. It's also a pretty overbought market, which means probabilities-wise, today, tomorrow, next week, next month, any given day now, there could be a pullback. And I don't think we should be shocked when and if we get one. The party can't last forever. So checking out the monthly chart here, the monthly chart for the S&P futures, we'll call it a chance. There's a chance we've got a little bit more upside. To check out this big monthly squeeze, the basics of the squeeze. Once the squeeze fires, you can look at it from one of two ways. One, that should last for about anywhere from 5 to 8 to 10 bars. We are only 2 bars in. So as far as that goes, it's all pretty fresh. It is a newborn squeeze. The way that I like to look at it, whether it takes 2 bars, 5 bars, 10 bars, when the squeeze fires, you get your first green dot. Typically, price wants to go up towards that 3 ATR, which for the monthly chart here is about, I'm going to round down a bit, 5,200. About 130, 125 bucks above the current price. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Your weekly chart is overbought. Your lower time frames heading into today, they're not the greatest. The monthly squeeze still got a little bit of work to do here. So I think the bigger question is, can we rally into that 5,200 without a bigger, more meaningful pullback? And we shall find out. But again, for today, tomorrow, and then Friday, my advice is be careful getting long. And that doesn't mean you got to short the thing, but be careful getting long under 50.90. If they can get it back above 50.90, They should fix some of the issues here. Right, they'll get momentum back above zero. We need that momentum. They will cancel out the sell signal. They'll rebuild the structure. They'll get some lower time frame buy signals back above that 50-90. Then we can look for a path back towards the previous highs. Below that 50-90, things might be a little bit dicey. And then I do want to show you the economic calendar. The economic calendar. And we got a few things happening this week. Few things happening. So this morning we had the GDP report. And for the most part, kind of a non-event. And then later today, you got some Fed speakers. We've got Raphael, we've got Susie Collins herself, and then Johnny Williams. I think if anything, tomorrow is going to be the bigger deal. 8:30 a.m. sharp, you got the jobless claims and the PCE index. It could all take the market lower. It could all take the market higher. It could all be a total non-event. Good to be mindful of it, if nothing else. And then a few setups here, guys. And admittedly, I'm a little bit hesitant to jump into the good-looking setups because, as we know, the good-looking setups do not work if the S&Ps, the QQQ, the Dow, the market itself isn't giving you that wind at your back. But nonetheless, a few that look pretty good. Got a daily squeeze here in AMD. And again, if the QQQ pulls back from here, AMD could work, right? It could break out above 180. The squeeze could fire. You could catch your push towards that 195 target. Without the QQQ leading the way, it's going to be really, really tough. But for now, a good setup. Squeezes on the daily time frame, 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, and the 5. All kinds of squeeze action. You've got Bank of America. Financials looking pretty good. And BAC's got that daily slingshot squeeze. It's actually a really good looking setup. With a market behind it, of course. But you got your squeeze. Big 3 scores an 8 out of 10. Pretty bullish. Check out your lower time frames. This is actually really, really clean. The daily squeeze can set the stage for a nice breakout, a nice push towards the $36 target. You need that multi-time frame alignment. It might be the best daily squeeze ever. If the 4 hour, the 15-minute, the 1 hour, if they're not aligned for a push higher, you ain't going to get that push higher. But at the close yesterday, this is really good alignment. You take your daily squeeze, you pop open the hood, 4 hour down to the 5-minute, cranking out that buy signal. So very, very nice setup there. And then we also found Airbnb on the scans yesterday. Very nice daily squeeze. 10 out of 10 on the big 3 score. It's an A+ setup. A+ setup meaning you got a squeeze, you've got the buy signal, and you got a really good entry. And you've got pretty good alignment. 1 hour, 30, and the 15 also bullish. And then I'm trying to think of what else we found yesterday. Datadog, the doggy dog. A lot of squeezes here. The 3-day, the 2-day, the daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, 30, 15, and the 5. It's a lot of compression. And then I'm trying to think of what else we found. AMD, Airbnb, Datadog, Bank of America, and then Marvell. Not the cleanest, but it did come up on the scans. But yeah, guys, like I said, put the market first. S&Ps go lower, QQQ goes lower. Not a guarantee, of course, but a pretty good chance. AMD, Airbnb, BAC, Google, Nvidia, Netflix, they all might go lower as well. And then speaking of Netflix, so far this week, one of the stronger names. You did hit that big 600 level. We'll find out if that's a bit of a brick wall. And then for a few uglier setups, it does pain me to say this, believe me. Google. Google not looking that hot. Now, the best thing it had going for it was that beautiful weekly squeeze. It's still a good weekly squeeze. The issue is all of your lower time frames. The weekly, the daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, they're not aligned for a push higher. So even if Google has the best weekly squeeze you've ever seen, we need that alignment from the ground up. Otherwise, it just keeps on squeezing, or potentially they might want to take that a little bit lower. So Google's a little bit iffy, not a good looking daily chart. And then on the list of ugly names, you have Apple. Is the big Apple. And I think below that 200 SMA, so below 184, 185, Apple's a little bit sketchy. You got daily sell signals, and then we got this big chunky 3-day squeeze. So that's a pretty dangerous setup. If the lows break, if they take out 180, the 3-day squeeze should fire short, at which point your downside target is about 165 to 170. And I show you Apple because Apple's such a heavily weighted stock. Makes up a big piece of the S&Ps, makes up a big piece of the QQQ. Apple going much lower could put a little pressure on the rest of the market. So that is that for some names. And for our time together this morning, we will watch the futures, we will watch the lower time frame squeezes, and then we'll see what's setting up on the cash market. But again, 50-90. If the bulls want to go for one more go round back towards the highs, we got to get back above that 50-90. We got to keep it above that 50-90, stabilize things, and then, my friends, we can take it from there. So what are we going to do here? 4 hour, 2 hour, 15 minute, 5 minute squeeze. Now, I think the more important squeeze here is going to be the 4 hour. All right, 4 hour squeeze can definitely pack a punch. But if anything, we can drop down to the 15. Drop down to the 15. And then if anything for this morning session, that should give us a little bit more clarity. Before the 4 hour squeeze fires long or short, they've got to fire the 15-minute long or short. So we'll take a look here. 15-minute squeeze. So the first thing that should stick out is the structure. Structure is not the best. You look at these labels up here. Right, the big three signals are neutral. The 8 EMA is under the 21 EMA, not bullish. 21 EMA is under the 50 SMA, not bullish. Big three score of -3. Is it the perfect short? Not necessarily. Do things lean a little bit in the favor of the bears? At the moment, they do. And then we'll check the NQ. NQ, you got a 4 hour, 2 hour, 15-minute. We'll watch the 15-minute squeeze here as well. Again, structure, not good. 21 under the 50. 8 under the 21. 50 period is under the 200. The 21 is under the 200 with a big three score of -7. It all points towards the bears, got a little bit more control. All right, then from there, what we can do is If we're going to anchor to the 15-minute squeeze, we want to watch a few lower time frames as a little bit of a compass. So I'm going to change this to the 2-minute time frame. The 12 time frame. And then I will change this bad boy to a 1-minute time frame. All right. And we're looking for two things here. Or we're watching two things, rather. Let me get my notebook. All right, 1 minute, 2-minute time frames. We are watching the big three signals: bullish, bearish, or neutral. And we are also going to watch the ATR trailing stop. Is price above or below the trailing stop? And here's the settings I'm using for the trailing stop. Give y'all a quick peek here. Period of 9, factor of 2.9, average type exponential. And then for the colors, I'm going with purple and yellow, in honor of my man, Kobe Bryant. So 9, 2.9, exponential. And then what I'm looking for, again, is are we above or below the trailing stop? And is the big three bullish, bearish, or neutral? Now, for conversation's sake, let's just say we want to buy the 15-minute squeeze. All right, we're bullish. We're looking for a push higher. What I have to see at a bare minimum, from the 2-minute and the 1-minute, they've got to be above the trailing stop, and the big three signals have to be bullish. We've got to be trading above that yellow line, and the candle, the arrow, has to be green. If they can do that, then you're looking at a 5-minute. Can the 5-minute get above the trailing stop? Can the 5-minute print a buy signal? If those kinds of things come through on your lower time frames, then you can try to call for a push higher. Just the opposite. If we have a 2-minute and a 1-minute sell signal, if we're under the trailing stop, better chance that 15-minute squeeze breaks short. And the context is, it's not a very bullish 15-minute squeeze. Now we're getting the orange arrow. That's the slingshot signal. An early indication they might want to take it lower. All right, big three scores a -8. You don't have the best structure. So we already know going into it, things lean a little bit bearish. Therefore, if the 1-minute and the 2-minute can't do those two things, print a buy signal above the trailing stop, there's no way I can look at it and think we're going to go higher. All righty. All right, so now we're getting a 1-minute sell signal. We've got a vicious 2-minute sell signal. And we'll see if they shift the trailing stop here. But I think looking at things from the ground up, that visual pattern recognition, really, really important because it makes your process repeatable. Good example is, again, if I want to get short the 15-minute squeeze, try to play for a push down towards 17,890. You will never get that kind of flush with a 1-minute and a 2-minute buy signal. Over time, you got to get a good sense of what things should look like. If we're going to go $50 lower, what are my 1-minute, 2-minute, 5-minute time frames? What are they going to look like? Are they above their trailing stop of the buy signal? Are they below it with a sell signal? Meaning, if I want to get short, and all of a sudden there's a 1-minute buy signal, there's a 2-minute buy signal, I might hold off a little bit. Not what things are going to look like if we're going to get a big flush. If I wanted to buy the market right now, I can't buy it. If I'm going to get a big rally, if we're going to push back towards 18,000, my 1 minute and my 2 minute time frame, they are not going to look like that. They will actually be the total opposite. But all right, y'all, that is the game plan for this morning. Now, as far as actually jumping in and getting short, even if the signals imply that should be the trade, I think I'm going to hold off. Reason being, actually, yesterday is a good example. Before I can get short, I've got to see these actually work. You get a squeeze, you get some sell signals. If they can actually take things lower, then I might take that trade a bit more often. The theme in this market has been pretty much exactly like yesterday. All right, here comes the bears. We've got a 15-minute squeeze. We got a 15-minute sell signal. In any normal market, that makes for an easy short. You got the squeeze, got the sell signal, you get short, and you catch a nice flush. In this market, up to this point, all that does is just piss off the bulls. The bulls feel insulted, right? They feel a little bit disrespected that we even printed a sell signal, and then you get the vicious pump. Rope in the shorts. Come on, guys, buy those puts, right? Come on in, the water's warm. And then the old spank. The spank to the upside. What I want to see is we get the short set up, and it actually unfolds how it should, as opposed to being a bit more of a big old bear trap. So that's a thought process, but we've got about 20 minutes here before the cash open. So any questions, anything y'all want to take a look at, throw it at me in the chat and we'll try to bang it out. And it shall not be a dull day. They're trying to print the slingshot signal on the ES as well. The old slingshot. Hey, good morning, Russ. Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs. Excuse me. I'm still getting over my cold. I go to the doctor tomorrow. I'm pretty sure I had bronchitis. I had all the symptoms of bronchitis. The worst of which was my heart rate. Like I know trading can be pretty exhilarating, but I'd be sitting here and all of a sudden, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Thought I was going to have a heart attack one day. All right, Goldman. So the bank stocks look pretty good. We'll check out XLF here. All right, XLF is in very good standing. 10 out of 10 on the big three score. And there's some pretty good setups in the group. Goldman, EAC, Wells Fargo. That thing's a beast. Citigroup. So yeah, there's a lot of good looking setups. And not to be a broken record, guys, but the nature of the beast, Goldman could be the best setup ever. Squeezes, buy signals, the whole nine. If the S&Ps and the QQQ pull back in a meaningful fashion, doesn't mean Goldman can't go higher. Doesn't mean Goldman has to go lower. Probabilities-wise, if the market does pull back, it's going to be a lot tougher to get that breakout above 400 and catch your push towards that 410. Now, vice versa, the S&Ps clean up. They find the bottom. They turn the corner. They're marching back towards the previous highs. At that point, I think anything that looks like Goldman should do pretty well. And that remains the $1 million question. Take it back to the 4-hour squeeze on the ES. In the short term here, the next 3 to 5 days, for a lot of stocks, their fate will be decided by this 4-hour squeeze. As goes the market, goes the stocks. So if this thing breaks short, we're down here 50-50, 50-35-ish. My expectation is Goldman goes lower, Airbnb goes lower, Bank of America goes lower, Google, Netflix, Nvidia, they should all go lower. We stabilize, get back above that 4-hour 21, boom, squeeze fires to the upside. Goldman, BAC, Nvidia, Google, they've all got a much better chance of trading higher. So focus on the indices first and then the stocks. I think with a real emphasis on that 4-hour squeeze. And Goldman's a good setup. Good setups don't work as good as they should if you don't have that wind at your back. They get that much more difficult. Hey, good morning, Tim. Nvidia. The beast formerly known as Nvidia. So no problems here. No big problems, no red flags. But like a lot of things out there, it's a little bit overbought. Overbought on the daily. We are very overbought on the weekly chart. That green line, that's measuring 3 average true range moves above that 21 EMA. In most cases, 3 ATR is pretty extended. We are trading above that level. Meaning tomorrow morning, Nvidia could gap down $200. Nothing will have changed. They're not going to break the structure. We're not going to be getting weekly sell signals. It could gap down $200. The indicator on the weekly chart would still say to buy that dip. So I think any time a stock has reached that point where it could pull back anywhere from 2 to 5 to 10 to 15% and still look really bullish, you want to shift your focus to your lower time frames. Right? If you're looking for problems on the daily chart, it's going to be a little bit too late. However, before we pull back from $800 to $700, the problems will develop on your lower time frames. 5-minute sell signal, 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour. And then I think we got a few squeezes here. So a squeeze always makes our job a little easier. Yeah, there you go. Is it bullish? It's incredibly bullish. Is it overbought? It is very much overbought. Where you can find your clarity, lower time frame squeezes, lower time frame signals. And you got a handful, a 1 hour, a 30, a 15, and the 5. Now we're going to gap down here about $10. So I'd imagine at a minimum, 5-minute and the 15-minute squeeze, they should break short. From there, you can get that domino effect. All right, down goes the 5-minute squeeze, down goes the 15, then the 30, then the 1 hour. So when the market opens, we'll come back to Nvidia. We'll come back to old Nvidia. Yeah, Scott, of course. I got you. I've got you covered. All right, guys, 13 minutes until the big show. There you go, Scott. Good morning. Good morning. Can I explain the big three tag on the top right window? So I assume you're referring to the labels up here. So we got two sets of different labels. We got the labels up here, and those are just for your buy and your sell signals. And then the labels down here are for your squeezes. So on these labels, green means that time frame is bullish. So for Nvidia, the weekly chart, the daily chart, the 4-hour, and the 2-hour, they're currently printing a buy signal. The 1-hour and the 30-minute being gray, that means things are neutral. Right? Not bullish, not bearish, no buy signal, no sell signal. And then the red label is a sell signal. 15-minute and the 5-minute are bearish. And then for these labels, if they are red, you have a squeeze and a sell signal. If they're blue, you've just got a squeeze, a neutral squeeze. And if they are green, you've got a squeeze and a buy signal. All right, let me jump over here to YouTube. Good morning, good people. Robert's got some biotech. Yeah, really nice push. Really nice push out of the slingshot squeeze. And it looks like we got a 2-day squeeze as well. Yeah, really, really clean. Very, very clean indeed. The target on that 2-day squeeze is about 145-ish. Really good looking setup. Good morning, Joseph. Good morning, Terry. Yeah, good to be back, guys. Good to be back. Granted, I was only gone for a day, but that was one day too many. All right, let's go check that 15-minute squeeze. And we got the 1-minute sell signal under the trailing stop. And for now, the 2-minute does hold it. But we'll see how long that can last for. And then check the NQ. Sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. Yeah, 2-minute sell signal, 1-minute sell signal. Very naughty indeed. But all right, guys, let's take a quick little coffee break. And then we'll come back and we'll trade at least the first hour of the session live. So 5-minute. We'll do a 3-minute break. 3-minute coffee break. Break. Back at 8:24. I can't type for crap. 8:24 a.m. Central. All right, y'all. I will be right back, and we'll keep the party going. Alrighty, back to it. I got a lot of sell signals here on the NQ. A lot of squeezes, a lot of sell signals, which in a normal market is a pretty good recipe for a flush. Pretty good recipe. ES. So the NQ is kind of the troublemaker today. Got a few more sell signals on the NQ. All right, y'all, 4 minutes. Keep an eye on the Bitcoin futures. See if they can keep the pump going. And then when the market opens, I want to check out the leadership. All right, Nvidia, AMD, SMCI, Netflix, Meta, all the above. Now, let me know in the chat, what do y'all think for today? Is today going to be a chop fest? Are we going to flush lower? We going to get the rally? What are y'all thinking? If I'm going to get long, I'm really going to wait for 50.90-ish. I got to wait for 50.90, or at a minimum, we've got to get better signals going. Yeah, what do y'all think? Hey, what's up, Tony? Good morning. Target and exit indicators. Why do they show up at times but did not show up? Tony, it sounds like you have the old version of the targets. So I would go to the indicator page. I would delete whatever you currently have, and then upload the most recent updated version. Then they should print for you at all times. All right, y'all. 2 minutes to go. And then we'll check the cash for a few squeezes here. S&P's got a 30-minute squeeze. And the QQQ has a 1 hour and a 30-minute. So we definitely want to keep an eye on those as well. The futures and the cash. Let's see, 4:35 to shoot the open. I don't think the hourly squeeze will fire a short right out the gate, but the 30-minute should. The 30-minute squeeze will be close. And again, if the 30-minute squeeze fires short, that can definitely influence the hourly squeeze to do the same thing. The nested squeeze. IWM's got a 15-minute, and the Dow has a 5-minute. All right, guys, 30 seconds until the big showdown. Whether you are Team Bull or Team Bear, I wish you the best of luck. Or maybe you're Team Chop, Team Iron Condor. All right, let's watch this 30-minute squeeze here at the open. 3, 2, 1. Ding, ding, ding. All right, pretty good gap down. So 30-minute squeeze hasn't fired short just yet. Let's go check the SPX. All right, so they're both in compression still. Haven't quite fired short just yet. All right, so QQQ. We'll anchor to the 30-minute squeeze. And as it currently sits, it's not the best, right? Momentum is below the 0 line. You've got a big 3 score of -1. You've got some pretty crappy structure. 8 under the 21, 21 under the 50, and then no lower time frame buy signals. Nothing to quite prop it up just yet. Now, for conversation's sake, if we're going to rally back towards 437, 438, what will our lower time frames look like? The 1 minute, the 2 minute, the 5 minute, the 15 minute. They should do two things. One, print a big 3 buy signal, and 2, do that above the trailing stop. If they can't even get that going on the 1 minute time frame, you got to be careful looking to buy the dip here. So 2 minute time frame is under the trailing stop, printing a sell signal. Doesn't quite scream, here comes a short squeeze. And then 1 minute is doing the same thing. So what I'm saying is if I want to get long today, at a bare minimum, I can't do that until they fix the problems on the 1 minute. Get rid of the sell signal, get it back above the trailing stop, print a fresh buy signal. And granted, it's only a 1 minute time frame. But at a bare minimum, that's where the progress for the bulls should start. And then we'll throw the ticks over here, watch the internals. And the ticks are starting off pretty nasty. Pretty nasty at -600. So another thing here, if we're looking for a big bounce, they've got to get and keep the ticks back above 0. If they can't do that, if they can't clean up the 1 minute time frame, we've got literally nothing telling us to look for a big bounce. Doesn't mean you have to short it, just means you hold off on getting long. All right, we got the ticks, we got the 2 minute and the 1 minute. Now for a few of the big boys here, we'll go check out Nvidia first. And Nvidia is down about 1.5%. And the same rules apply. All right, we got a 30-minute squeeze. It does lean a little bit bearish. Momentum is below 0. Big 3 scores a -3. Not very good structure. If there's going to be a big bounce, they're going to clean up the 1 minute time frame first. If they can't do that and then things just get worse, better chance of 30-minute squeeze break short. Let's go check up on AMD. AMD, same exact thing, 30-minute squeeze. Not very bullish, and they can't work their way out of that if they can't even clean up the 1 minute time frame. Let's go check a few tech stocks. Amazon. Amazon, pretty quiet. 1 minute sell signal, 2 minute sell signal. Netflix, down about 1%. 2 minute sell signal, 1 minute sell signal. Google down 1, right? Same thing. Meta is green. There's always that one guy. So Meta looks really good. Now that I think is pretty important context. SMCI is down 3%. AMD and Netflix are down 1. Google's down 1. Nvidia's down 1. Meta is your king of the hill this morning. Therefore, if Meta begins to pull back and Nvidia is not bouncing, SMCI is not bouncing, the market could go lower. Could go lower if you lose your top dog. All right, back to the future we go. And we're going to watch that 1 minute time frame. Bottom right-hand corner. All right, so there's the positive shift of the trailing stop. A baby step in the right direction. And we'll drop back down to our 15-minute squeeze. All right, now watch the ticks here. Left-hand corner. They got to get it and keep it back above zero. AMD coming in a bit more, Nvidia coming in a bit more. Yeah, we've got Meta and Tesla. Meta and Tesla got to save the market. All right, ticks getting stuffed at zero. And let's check a few bank stocks here. Goldman is flat. EAC popping a bit. Wells Fargo popping a little bit. And XLF is flat. So financials are pretty quiet. Healthcare is gapping down to the tune of 0.5%. Energy kind of quiet. Let's check the Dow Jones. The Dowski's down a bit. Let's check the small caps. And the small caps are down as well. So if we pull up the big three universe, try to figure out who's green today. And again, for the money makers, it's Tesla and Meta. If we go to the sectors, all right, sectors. The weakest is the semis, down about 1%. The strongest is Bitcoin, up about 5%. Energy is quiet, gold is quiet, industrials are quiet. So with Bitcoin kind of being its own beast, nothing really sticks out as leadership early out the gate. Some days tech pulls back, the semis pull back, and the financials are strong. The healthcare stocks are strong. So far today, things are quiet to soft. Quiet to soft. All right, ES. Under the 2-minute trailing stop. So we haven't gotten that positive shift just yet. We don't have a 1-minute buy signal. And the ticks are still under the zero line. The Qs. And a little bit of the same over here. And I think for a lot of you, the 1 minute might be a little bit too noisy. If anything, just anchor to the 2-minute trailing stop. Top right-hand corner. So we're going to make that our rule for this morning. They've got to clean up the 2-minute time frames. If they can clean up the 1 minute, that's cool. That's kind of cute. They got to get that 2-minute back in good shape. So we're looking for price above the 2-minute trailing stop, ideally with a 2-minute buy signal. If they can't do that, there's a better chance all these 15-minute, 30-minute squeezes should turn lower and break short. All right, ticks are getting back above zero. Let's see if they can keep it there. And we'll kind of keep flipping back and forth here. All right, QQQ. No love just yet. SPX. For the most part, everything's under the 2-minute trailing stop. SMH. Now the semis are getting a pretty good bounce going, right? Can that bounce fix any of the problems? During that bounce, can the bulls take back the 1 minute? Can they take back ownership of the 2-minute? Can they take back ownership of the 5-minute? If they can't, it's just a bounce. That probably rolls right back over. Google down almost 2%. We'll put a few alerts on the ticks here. And if you're bullish this morning, you don't want those ticks back under zero. You want them above that zero. All right, ugly, ugly candle. Wicking every which way. So nothing going there for the Qs. S&P's trying a little bit harder. But just keep things nice and simple. You will never see a big push higher, right? A big sustainable rally with a 1-minute sell signal. It can't happen. Just can't happen. And that kind of thinking will keep me out of trouble this morning. I'm not in a rush to get long. I don't got to be the first guy to buy it. If I can't even get a buy trigger on the 1-minute time frame, I've got no right to get long. No right at all. Apple down a bit. All right, keep an eye on Meta. Meta was talking a big game this morning coming out the gate. Still holds up pretty good, but you don't want to see Meta go down. Unless something else can step up to the plate and take its spot. Take the baton. Let's see, Tesla. Yeah, Tesla's Tesla. Now, notice how we're getting a pretty good push in the ticks. Right, through the zero line. Positive 350. But we're not really getting the party going to the upside. If we get a big tick push, I'm going to watch that 1 minute. I'm going to watch that 2 minute. Can they do anything with that tick pop? Cancel out the 1 minute sell signal, rebuild some structure. If they can't do that while the ticks are positive, what happens if the ticks go negative? What if we go from plus 400 back down to minus 400? Chances are everything keeps going right back down. So the SPX needs about 50. We got to get above 50, 70-ish to try to start cleaning things up here. 50, 70, 50. And the QQQ will need about 437. Yeah, about 437-ish. Let's go check out the big three universe. Let's see what we got over here. Hang tight, guys. All right, ticks going back under 0. What am I trying to do here? What am I trying to do? There we go. All right, big three universe. Who is green? All the Bitcoin stocks. MSTR, BITO, Mara, Coinbase. We've got natural gas up 3%. Lowe's is green. TJ Maxx is green. Not the sexiest names. And then who's red? UNH, Roblox, AMAT, Micron, Qualcomm, Intel, LRCX. A lot of semiconductors. They are spanking the semis. Nike down, Broadcom down. JP Morgan's green, Goldman is green. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Tech stocks are lower, semiconductor stocks are lower. The energy stocks, the bank stocks, they're green. And that kind of puts the S&Ps caught in the middle. A little bit of tug of war. Semiconductors say, hey, let's go lower. The bank stocks say, hey, let's go higher. Typically, the end result is the S&Ps just chopping. Chop, chop, chopping. All right, guys, check our 2-minute time frame. And nothing happening on the SPX. QQQ. Nothing shifting on the QQQ. Nvidia. No such luck there. And SMH. So far, nothing getting that shift yet. And we can't think about getting long until we get the shift. Ticks are flatlining. And remember, we're looking at all of this in the context of some squeezes. Inside some squeezes. $30-minute squeeze on the SPX could take you to about 50-50-ish. Big, sexy number there. QQ. All right, Q's breaking a little bit lower here. All right, we open. We never get back above the 1 minute trailing stop. We never get back above the 2 minute trailing stop. We got a 30-minute squeeze. Structure is already pretty bearish. Minute by minute, but for now, definitely easier for this thing to go lower. And then maybe back down at 432-ish, the 30-minute 50. That might be where you look for the bounce. Ticks are positive, but they're not doing too much with it. They ain't doing too much with it. Yeah, a little bit more selling coming through. SMCI is down 4%, AMD and Google down 2%, Nvidia down 2%, Netflix down 1.5%, and Meta is giving up all the goods. She was talking a big game, and now she's tucking her tail. Little bit of tail tucking in Meta. So now the strongest name in the FANG stocks is Meta, which is up a mind-blowing 0.1%. So for the FANG stocks, the MAG 7, there's your leadership. That is your king. Up 14 cents. And now with the financial stocks, the healthcare stocks, the energy stocks, if they go lower, then the S&Ps can really flush. You get a little bit of rotation. Sell some AMD, buy some Goldman. Sell Nvidia, buy some ExxonMobil. And if they can play that game all day long, QQQ might go lower. The SMH might go lower. The S&Ps might be a bit more choppy. So we're going to put a few alerts here on energy. Under the 2 minute trailing stop. All right, ticks are heading back down. Go financials. And if they break under their 2 minute trailing stop, they might be going lower as well. So energy, financials, and healthcare. Yeah, healthcare gap down. So it's really energy and the financials. All right, ticks at minus 300. QQQ low of day. Now we're in the market that I think has taught us all to wake up, buy the dip, go walk the dog, go to the gym, come back, and you made some money. One day that party will come to an end. You can avoid losing your shirt by working on a few basic rules. All right, if I'm going to get long, I got to get this on the 1 minute. I got to get that on the 2 minute. If I don't get those things, I don't get long. AMD, Nvidia, Netflix, Apple. All right, while we're watching, we'll fire up a few scans here. So we're scanning for a daily squeeze and a daily buy signal. And we got some real heavy hitters here. Procter & Gamble, UNP, Airbnb, and Valero. Not quite what I would call market-leading names. So therefore, I'm not going to trade them, but we'll take a peek. Airbnb. It's a great setup. It's a really, really good setup. Beautiful daily squeeze, lower time frame buy signals. Can that work if the indices go lower? It can, but it's a little bit tough. Procter & Gamble, no thank you. UNP, it's a good setup. And Valero. Again, they're all clean. If they're on the scan, they're going to be a good setup. Otherwise, it won't be on the scans. But there's a time and the place. And I don't quite think this morning is the time or the place. Google down 2%. All right, back to the indices. So no shift just yet. And the reason you got to get that shift sooner rather than later is because of that 30-minute squeeze. If they can't clean up the 1 minute, clean up the 2 minute, much better chance of 30-minute squeeze break short. And like I said, that can take us down to about 50-50-ish. If they want to avoid that, clean up the 1 minute, clean up the 2 minute, clean up the 5. Try to get this thing back above at least the 30-minute 21. So 50, 70 and change. Be careful getting long under 50, 70 and change. And I'll get caught up in the chat here in a few minutes, guys. See how we're just kind of floating in no man's land? We're below the 50, below the 21. Your next support level is all the way down here at 433-ish. If they can't clean up the lower time frames, better chance that's where the 30-minute squeeze takes us. Ticks are quiet. Little pop going in the ticks. Tesla's red. Meta is flat. Very sloppy action. All right, little tick pop. All right, ticks at positive 300. Can they do anything with it? So I'm watching my ticks and I'm watching my 1 minute time frame. Ticks at positive 2, 3, 4, 500. If they can't take that and then take back the 1 minute, it is not very promising for a big rally. Yeah, a lot of pressure here so far. A lot of pressure. Do, 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 do. Anybody get short overnight? Anybody short into the open? If so, not a bad way to start off your Wednesday. All right, watch those ticks. If they go back down to negative 250, negative 300, we probably get a new low of day. I think we're about to get one anyways. All right, guys, now the 30-minute squeeze is technically firing short. The blue dot means you're in compression. Right? You're building up all the energy. The green dot means you are releasing the energy. Squeeze, fire short. And we're watching the 30-minute squeeze knowing that we've also got an hourly squeeze. So the snowball effect of your nested squeeze. First goes the 30, then goes the hourly. This is a pretty big spot here, though. You had that gap up last week after Nvidia earnings, and now we are testing that gap level. All right, little break in your ticks. So if they're going to keep the ship afloat, 434 is kind of the level they got to do it at. Below 434, we're back in some very, very messy territory. All right, ticks breaking below zero. Now the 1 minute. 1 minute is going from red to blue. So they are trying to cancel out that 1 minute sell signal. It's a very, very small sign of a pulse. It might not be dead just yet. But we're looking for a lot more. 1 minute and the 2 minute above their trailing stop, both printing a buy signal. All right, watching that 1 minute. Trailing stop at 435 and a quarter. Ticks are flat, right? No big tick push. Right up on that 1 minute 21 EMA. All right, let's see what they're going to do here. S&P's bouncing a bit. Okay, the SPX is right up on that 1 minute trailing stop. So the first little tiny sign of progress will be getting that positive shift. If they can do it. It's gone from bearish to neutral. 2 minute goes from bearish to neutral. It's a little progress. It ain't everything, but it's a little bit. All right, little pop in the ticks here. They're going to go for it. They got to go for it. SMCI down 4, AMD down 2, Google down 2, Netflix down 2, Nvidia down 2, and Meta goes red. So Meta was the hero for about 2.5 minutes. Ticks at 250. And you really want to see the ticks above 500 if you're trying to call for a big pop. Plus 100, plus 200. It might take a little bit more than that. All right. Right up under that 1 minute. I think the 434-ish level on the QQQ, it's a good spot to look for the turn. If they can't get it here, then we should get a bigger break and begin to fill that gap. Ticks are positive, but the pressure is there. The pressure is there. All right, there's a new high on the ticks, plus 400. And this is where we got to see the bulls try to step up. All right, you gap down, you had a little pressure. If the ticks can just kind of chill out for a bit, that's where the bulls should come in and try to get something going. During those positive ticks, if they can't, and then the ticks are back down at minus 200, minus 3, 4, 500, the flush should continue. All right, guys, there's our 1 minute shift. Now we got to get a closing candle here. Yeah, we'll get one in about 2 seconds. All right. So that, of course, is not a buy signal, but it's a little piece of progress. What you don't want to see is price goes right back under the 1 minute trailing stop. All right, so little bit of progress. See if the QQQ can go for it. And not quite yet. Right on the cusp. Ticks are holding steady. $350 ticks. There's a lot more pressure in tech. You can see the S&Ps are a little bit more willing to try to bounce. All right, we're coming up on our 2 minute trailing stop now. 50, 68-ish. All right, they might try to get it here. If they can stabilize it back above the hourly 21, they can get it out of harm's way. And then from there, we are probably looking to get long. Stabilize it back above the hourly 21. Bring on some fresh lower time frame buy signals, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute. And then we can play it back into the highs. All right, so far the patience is paid. If we jumped in and got short, we're sitting through a bounce. Patience, patience. All right, keep watching the ticks here. They're doing a good job of keeping it above that 0 line. We're having a little trouble here at that 2 minute trailing stop. Right on the edge. And we don't quite have the 1 minute buy signal just yet. So we're not getting all the pieces. All right, new high for the ticks, plus 480. So they got to push here. They got the internals on their side. They got to go for it. $650 on the ticks. All right, there's that 2 minute trailing stop shift. We got to get a closing candle, though. Which I think we'll get in about 2 seconds. Nope, we got to get 1 more minute. 1 more minute. Yeah, they are fighting right there. Check QQQ. Tesla goes green, back up 1%. All right, ticks are coming off a little bit here. Still positive. Let's go check energy. Energy holds up well. The financials hold up well. So that's kind of keeping the ship afloat here. All right, guys. So no luck on that 2 minute trailing stop just yet. Close, but no cigar. And we would like to get a 1 minute buy signal. A little bit more alignment on that 1 minute. Ticks are good. It's just the things they're selling and the things they're buying make it really tough to call for direction on the S&Ps. The top 5 holdings, which make up like 20% of the S&P 500, they're all red. Exxons, the bank stocks, they make up a much, much smaller chunk of the S&Ps. So them being green while the top 4 or 5 names are red, choppy stuff. All right, ticks are going back down a bit. Let's see if they can hold that 0 line. Left-hand corner. So far, we're getting stuffed at 50, 68-ish. 30-minute squeeze hasn't fired yet. And as long as that's the case, they can try to step in here and save it. Back above that 21 EMA, stabilize it, get some lower time frame buy signals. At that point, the 30-minute squeeze might slingshot back towards the upside. It's just it's way too early to call for either which way just yet. Ticks hold 0. And we might go for round 2 here at that trailing stop. All right, there's that 1-minute buy signal. Trying to creep its way on in. Oh, I spoke too soon. I spooked it. It's flashing. It's flashing. All right, little break here in the ticks, minus 100. We'll see if the price action reacts. Tesla's going for it. We need a hero. It's not looking like it's going to be SMCI today. All right, 1-minute buy signal. We got to get it on a closing candle, though. Otherwise, it's nothing but a mirage. And, for what it's worth, guys, these are not my favorite mornings. If you happen to be in my mastery last Friday, that's my favorite kind of morning. We had a few squeezes. We had really good alignment, bunch of buy signals. We jumped in, caught our push, and we were done before the cash market even opened. All right, squeezes, alignment, clarity. Today's a total opposite. Are we going lower? Are we going higher? Do the squeezes fire short? Do they fire long? Can I get some buy signals? Do I get some sell signals? For me, at least, it's not a morning where things are just like super obvious. I've always found the best trades, they jump out at you. Like, it's very clear what the trade should be. And that ain't this morning. But we're doing our job, right? We're not forcing the issue. We're not assuming things go lower and getting short. We're not assuming things go higher and getting long. We don't have a great setup. It's kind of as simple as that. No great setup, no trade. All right, ticks slipping back to minus 200. But we're holding up pretty good here. Still below that 2-minute trailing stop. So that was kind of our rule. Got to get that 2-minute shift. No luck in the S&Ps. No luck in the QQQ. No luck in the SMH. No luck in Nvidia. No luck in AMD. No luck anywhere. Except Tesla. Tesla and Bitcoin. All right, and we had a 1-minute buy signal for a whopping 2 minutes. Like that's not good enough. The days where things are strong, and for the most part we're trending higher all day long, you've pretty much got a 1-minute buy signal all day long. The fact they can't keep it for more than 2 minutes tells us we're not there quite yet. Chop, chop, chop. All right, guys, in 5 minutes, I'll at 10:30, 9:30 Central, I'll jump in the chat and see what you got for questions. We'll keep watching for another 9 minutes. But not my favorite kind of price action. And now from here, if we end up back under the 1 minute, the 1 minute trailing stop, they have dropped the ball on their little attempt at getting a push going. Ticks at 0. And we got a 2-minute squeeze setting up. Let me open that up. Watch a 2-minute squeeze. If they can fire it long, bulls can make a little bit more progress. If they fire it short, we might be at a new low of day. And it leans bearish, of course. Under the 50, under the 200, under the 21. Big 3 score of -7. So at the moment, a better chance it breaks short. And our trailing stop is right up there. 435.5. All right, guys, I'll get caught up in the chat. We'll keep an eye on things here, but yeah, kind of a sloppy back and forth morning. I would say for now, things do favor the Bears to an extent. But we got a lot of daylight left, and you know the things we're looking for a turn higher. But we need them to take place above that 434. If we begin to fill that gap, things could get a little bit uglier. All right, slingshot signal coming through. All right, let me see what y'all got. Melly? Smelly Melly? Yeah, I'd short that on a bounce. Structure's a little bit busted. Yeah, how's Caterpillar doing, Nancy? Yeah, and that's why the S&Ps aren't breaking down in a big fashion. Google lower, AMD lower, Nvidia lower. All of the favorites are lower. You know, then you've got Caterpillar, you've got the bank stocks, the energy stocks. Doing a good job of keeping the ship afloat. It's the days where everything's going lower, where the S&Ps can really break down. So with that being said, if you're looking to short something this morning, You got to short where the weakness is. That's going to be QQQ or the SMH. Yeah, Caterpillar looks pretty good. I think another name is Home Depot. Smooth sailing. TMO looks pretty good. We're checking out Goldman earlier. It's a little bit choppy, but a good setup. BAC trying to break out. Energy stocks are strong. And then, of course, the crypto names. Okay, ticks back to plus 300. They got to take advantage of it, though. All right, now we're coming right up on that 1 minute trailing stop. And it's trying to shift negative. All right, let's keep an eye on that. All right, little break here. A little break here. So in about 9 seconds, we should close under the trailing stop. At which point, guys, you've got nothing. Right? You don't have buy signals. You don't have price above your trailing stop. There you have it. Let's go check the QQQ, see if they're doing the same thing. But at no point have they done those two things. I deleted my note, but 1 minute, 2 minute buy signals. 1 minute, 2 minute. North of the trailing stop. All right, QQQ right up on that 1 minute. The pressure remains. The pressure remains. Even with pretty good internals, right? The ticks are at plus 400. If we're getting some slippage while the ticks are positive, what if they turn the corner and go to minus 400? No guarantees in trading, but things should go lower. What a chop fest. They pop it, they drop it, they flip it, they dip it. All the while we're going nowhere. How about Tesla, though? How about that Tesla? Not my favorite setup, but it does look pretty good today. All things being equal. That might be putting lipstick on a pig. But it's trying. It's trying. Somebody's got to try. Then from here, you're looking for a 1 minute sell signal. Yeah, this thing's all over the place. So like I said, I think anchoring to the 2 minute trailing stop, it'll tune out a lot of the noise. All right, we're popping, we're dropping. If they can't shift the 2-minute, that's all it is. It's just noise. And I do not like trading noise. But we got a long, long day ahead of us. We don't got to be first to get long. We don't got to be first to get short. We want to be first to take the good setups. All right, they're going for it again here. Maybe round 2 is the charm. All right, 1-minute buy signal trying to come through. Now the tricky thing is the higher we go, the more resistance we got to get through. Even just the 15-minute time frame. They might get it above that 2-minute trailing stop. Then they got to get it above the falling 21 EMA. They might get it through that. Then they got to push it through the falling 50 SMA. When the 15-minute chart looks like this, 21 trending higher, 21 above the 50, 50 trending higher. So much easier for things to go to the upside. Where today it all kind of turns into a big renovation project. All right, they got to clean up the 1-minute. They got to clean up the 2-minute, clean up the 5, clean up the 15. And the longer they take to do that, the more things they have to fix. Like imagine a swimming pool. And right now in that swimming pool, we've got a tiny little crack. Tiny little crack developing in the corner. You get a little bit of leakage. If you can identify that early, patch things up, you might save the pool. Right? You might not lose all that water. If you lollygag, I'll fix it tomorrow. The hole gets bigger. More water comes rushing out. At some point, the whole pool collapses. Speaking from experience here, folks. Speaking from experience. All right, really good ticks here, plus 600. So this should be where they go for it. Should being the keyword. All right, our 1-minute is looking a lot better. Above that trailing stop, cranking out the buy signal. Now they got to keep it. They got to keep it. All right, little push. Right up on that 2-minute. All right, there we go. There we go. Now we got to get a 2-minute close. There we go. All right, 2-minute close in about 40 seconds. But now we're coming up on more resistance. All right, the 15-minute 21 EMA. All right, 30 seconds. Got a 1-minute squeeze firing to the upside. All right, that should do the trick. Let's see, 10 seconds. Don't you drop the ball. All right, there we go. So 2-minute candle closes, and we are finally north of the trailing stop. Now, on a day where you get that shift on your 2-minute, and the 5-minute, the 15-minute, the 30-minute, they're super bullish, I can take that positive shift on my 2-minute, I can jump in and get long. It's a different context today. The 2-minute just shifted positive inside of a very crappy 15-minute. That makes sense, guys? Like, you're looking from the ground up, but you're also looking from the top down. If my 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute time frames are just like fully aligned for a push higher, I can take the entry on that 2-minute shift. Put my stop right down there. I'm going to trail that stop. Then I can try to play it higher. That's not the case today, though. 2-minute shifts positive, while the 15-minute cranks out a big sell signal. Very different context. So this morning, we're not watching the 1-minute and the 2-minute for an entry necessarily. We're looking for signs of a turn. Clean up the 1, clean up the 2, clean up the 5, the 15-minute. If they can do all that cleanup later today, tomorrow, you might have a better looking long. Like back here, good example. If the 5-minute time frame looked like that, 21 above the 50, 21 trending higher, not lower, momentum above 0, not below 0, I can take that 2-minute trigger for the entry. Today, that 2-minute trigger is just context. All right, let's go check the QQQ. No such luck here. And we've already identified that. Energy looking good. Financials looking pretty good. The tech stuff, not so much. So QQQ is going to have a little bit more of a tough time. Right, they take it right into a 5-minute 21. The falling 5-minute 21 and spank. Right back down she goes. So it is QQQ versus the market. So now the next piece of the puzzle here for the SPX would be a 2-minute buy signal. Got to get that green. Futures. Futures looking a little bit better. All right, 5-minute squeeze setting up on the futures. If they can fire that long, then the S&Ps can really start to clean things up. If they can get a squeeze going behind them. All right, ticks are holding up here. The 5-minute squeeze is tempting. It is tempting. It's under the 200 SMA. Let me price out a couple different things here. Give me a minute. Um, 5090 would have us going from green to red. or green to flat, if anything. Let me look at a few things here. We got a $15 expected move between now and the close. I'm looking at the options on the ES. Looking at the 50-90 call for today's expiration, which would be a bit of a lotto trade, considering the structure is not the greatest. Not the greatest, I say. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna save my cash for a much better setup. All right, guys, we'll keep watching for another 10 minutes or so, and then I'll answer your questions, and then we'll call it a session. Not a very exciting one, but that is the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. 1 minute looking good, 2 minute above that trailing stop. I think so far I would chalk it up to a glorified chop fest. It's about the nicest way I can say it. QQQ, still under the 2 minute. If the QQQ can get pushing, then the S&P should really make a nice push. So that might be the trigger here. The S&Ps are stronger. If the QQQ can at least get above that 2 minute trailing stop, that might give the S&Ps a little bit more wiggle room to nudge higher. So it's pretty much the 5 minute 21. Got to break that 5 minute 21. Let's just see if they can get it here. Ticks are stable. Not scorching, but they're stable. Where's Tesla? Tesla still pushing nicely. Nvidia bouncing a bit. AMD bouncing a bit. Decent bounce in SMCI from down 4 to down 2.5. Yeah, that might be the trigger, guys. Unfortunately, we might not get clarity until after the reports tomorrow morning. Jobless claims, PCE. It might be a really choppy market until we get through all that. All right, come on, QQQ. Come on, big fella. Let me see. I might grab a cheap call if we can get that 2-minute shift. But only if. Are they going to give it to me? One thing's for sure, though. When I jump off the mic, I'm going to go walk my dog. All right, little tick break. A little tick break. What I found is by 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, the market's been open for about an hour and a half. If I don't have any great setups, walk away, go do something else, and then maybe come back after lunchtime, right around the European close. Wow, the QQQ is just afraid of its own shadow. They do not want to break that 2-minute. Little tick push. It's just a lot easier to buy the S&Ps if the QQQ is not so sketchy. If they can get the QQQ going, then they can get a push. All right, guys, we'll watch this for a few more minutes. My bad. Get it above that 2-minute trailing stop. Back above the 5-minute 21. Stabilize it. Then the S&Ps can push further. If we get rejected here, we're right back down towards the low of day. Should pull the S&Ps right back down. If Goldman Sachs can go up 10%, then maybe not. All right, no luck quite yet. So yeah, guys, I would continue to watch that. 2-minute trailing stop on the QQQ. If they can get that positive shift, it doesn't fix all the issues with the QQQ, but that might give the S&Ps a little bit more of a green light to rally off into the sunset. But we might be better served just saving our chips for later. Later today, maybe tomorrow. That might be the best trade. No trade. All right, folks, I will get caught up in the chat here, answer a few more questions. And then for those of you in the Essentials room, or the Centrals room, rather, I'll be live in there at 11:30 Central, about an hour and a half from now, for a little bit more fun. All right, Nancy wants to check out some Microsoft. So it's got that big daily squeeze. Not to be a broken record, but it'll all come down to the QQQ. Right, as goes the QQQ goes Google, Nvidia, Meta, Amazon, Apple. And that's the $1 million question. From here, do we go lower? Right, pull back to 21 EMA. Can they stabilize it, turn the corner, take it back towards the highs? And I think that will directly impact where Microsoft goes. QQQ back to 440, 450-ish. Not a guarantee, but I think at that point, a much better chance Microsoft can take that daily squeeze and fire it to the upside. And if I wanted to buy it right here, right now, I don't quite have the triggers for it. 4-hour chart is neutral. 2-hour chart is bearish. And the 5-minute has a buy signal. Where my preference is, all right, we got a daily squeeze. Pop open the hood. 4-hour, 2-hour, 1-hour, 30, 15-minute, 5-minute. They're all printing a buy signal. That sets up the long. So I think Microsoft just requires a bit more patience. Patience to get clarity from the QQQ, and then the patience to get the clarity from your lower time frame signals. Right? It's way too much of a mixed bag. Neutral, bearish, neutral, 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 bullish. We want bullish, 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 and a little bit more bullish. So very much a patience game here on Microsoft. Very much a patience game. Tony, in the indicator settings, so go to your studies, double click on that indicator, and then from there you can change the color. Okay, so for the trailing stop, you want to go to studies. And then we are looking for the ATR trailing stop. So you would double click that, add it to your current chart, and then double click it again. And the settings that I'm using are 9, so period of 9, factor of 2.9, and average type is exponential. And then, of course, you can change the colors. You can have a solid line, a dotted line. But those are the settings. I'll put a screenshot in the chat for you. And that's what will give you that level. Good old trailing stop. Speaking of which, let's check the QQQ one more time. And nothing. So that is the brick wall so far. 435.63. And as the price drops, the trailing stop will drop as well. Yeah, no shift yet. No shift yet. IG, isn't volume on the ES at the moment a bit too small for a meaningful move? I think it's all the above. All the above. Right, lack of volume, lack of good structure, a lack of alignment in the signals. No clarity, right? No clarity. And when we're trading with no clarity, it's all a bit more of an assumption. And y'all know what they say about assumptions. You can look like a real ass. At least that's what I think they say about assumptions. That's what I've been told. AMP. All right, I'll jump over here to YouTube in a second. AMP. Excuse me. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now I wouldn't swing trade it up here. It's a little too far above that 21. It's a little bit too close to my upside target. But this thing's really bullish, right? All those buy signals. So what I could do is take that strength, drill down to a 1 hour or a 30-minute time frame, and then I can day trade it. I'm a little bit late here on the hourly squeeze entry as well. But that's kind of my thinking. If you have something in a squeeze, right on top of that 21 EMA, I look at that as a swing trade opportunity. I want to buy that near the 21 EMA in the squeeze, and then ride that push towards the upside target. Then take a name like, say, Nvidia. It's nowhere near that 21. There's no daily squeeze. The risk you face here is buying those calls, holding them overnight, and then tomorrow is finally the day where Nvidia pulls back to 725. You can 100% eliminate that overnight risk by turning it into a more of a day trading vehicle. It's a little too far above that 21 for me to swing trade it. But man, this thing's bullish. It's a 10 out of 10. I got a bunch of buy signals. I can take that same setup, drop down to, say, the hourly time frame, and then on that lower time frame squeeze, I can trade it on an intraday basis. Take it out to lunch. I can wine it and dine it, and then I can drop it right back off at home before the end of the day. You've got long-term commitments, and then you've got your lunch dates. If we're near that daily 21, I can look for a long-term commitment. If we're 2, 3, 4 ATR above it, I can take it a lunch, but I'm probably not going to take you home. If y'all catch my drift. Oh, QQQ is right there. The 10th time is the charm. Evidently, the 2-minute trailing stop is the biggest force known to mankind. All right, they might try to shifter here. Let's see. If they can do it before I end the session, I'll feel a little sense of accomplishment. Well, there she blows. All right, little shift on the 2-minute. Doesn't fix all the issues, but gives you a little bit more breathing room, we'll call it. All right, guys, well, they're getting that shift. And now from here, they got to get it back above the hourly 21. Try to stabilize the price. At which point, I think you try to take the hourly squeeze to the upside. If you have the lower time frame triggers. So they might try to slingshot it. There might be hope after all. All right, a few questions here on YouTube, and then we'll call it a session. And as always, guys, if I take a trade today, I will post it. And we might be getting a little bit closer to a point where that might make some sense. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Looking at a few different calls here. All right, we'll keep on taking it minute by minute. All right, YouTube folks, what do we got? Robert, any squeezes on the Bitcoin, the biotech names? So PDUFA. Oops. I'm not getting that ticker coming up for some reason, but biotech itself, very strong, very strong. Had a really nice daily squeeze. That has fire to the upside. That can take it to about 142 or 143-ish before things are overbought. You got some bigger time frame squeezes as well. We got a 2-day squeeze, very nice. And then we got a 3-day squeeze. All of the squeezes. Yeah, biotech looks pretty good. Trying to think of a few biotech names I'm familiar with. Like GILD. Well, that looks like crap, so. GILD did not get the memo. But yeah, I think IBB looks better than a lot of things right now. Little tick flush coming through. Little tick flush. Okay, can I explain how to use the ticks? So on a basic level, if the ticks are at 0, like the buying and the selling throughout the market, it's pretty neutral. Like nobody really has the strong advantage. Not the bulls, not the buyers, not the sellers. It's just kind of eh. The extremes would be plus 1,000 and minus 1,000. If the ticks are up there at, say, plus 500, 600, 700, 1,000, the buyers have got the advantage. Right? There's a lot more buying pressure, a lot more things are being accumulated. Good old supply and demand. A lot more demand coming through. The ticks are at minus 500, minus 600, minus 1,000. It's the opposite. A lot of selling pressure, a lot of supply coming to the market. So the way that I would tie that into my system is, say I got a squeeze here on the S&Ps. We should have a squeeze on the S&Ps. I got that 15-minute squeeze. And mind you, I don't think the ticks are the end-all, be-all, but they can be a helpful gauge. So I got a 15-minute squeeze. I am thinking about getting long. What I want to see from the internals, from the ticks, strong positive readings. I want to see more accumulation taking place throughout the market than distribution. At a bare minimum, I want the ticks above 0. Better yet, I want them at plus 3, 4, 500. If I got a 15-minute squeeze and the ticks are at minus 500, minus 600, doesn't mean I can't get a push higher, but it does make it a little bit more difficult. So I definitely wouldn't make it the end-all, be-all, but it can be a helpful gauge if you're on the right side of the path of least resistance. All right, guys, things are sprucing up a bit here. 50.95 is your next big level. How about the 5100 calls? I might take a look at those. But all right, guys, I'm going to clear things for, I believe Allison is up next. And then, like I mentioned, for those of you in the Essentials room, I'll see you in about an hour and a half. So as always, thank you for coming through this morning. Not a very exciting session. But if anything, hopefully the few things we watched you found helpful. And let's just do one more check here of our 1 minute and our 2 minute. All right, so as far as the SPX, we got that good stuff. 2 minute buy signal, 1 minute buy signal, both of which are above that trailing stop. And then we'll check the almighty QQQ, the one and the only. And at the moment, the 1 minute and the 2 minute are in good standing. Buy signals above that trailing stop. Just keep in mind, the higher we go, the more resistance we have to clear. Right, the 15 minute 21, the 5 minute 50. So as a recap, what I'm looking for, all right, I'm going to anchor to the 1 hour squeeze on the QQQ. And whether it be today, tomorrow, maybe Friday, if they can stabilize it back above the hourly 21, inside the hourly squeeze, get a 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute buy signal, that probably takes us right back towards the highs. All right, the classic slingshot. Down goes price, down goes momentum. They never quite break the structure. They never quite get that squeeze to break short. They rope them in and they flush them out. So that level is going to be 436.50-ish. Get it back above that 436.50. Get rid of any lower time frame sell signals. Bring on some fresh buy signals. And we might be moving and grooving back towards that 440-ish. So a little bit of progress, but we're not there. Not there quite yet. But all right, y'all, I'm going to run. Thank you as always. And I'm looking forward to our next session. Hopefully it is a bit more lively and we can take a few shots together in real time. But all right, y'all, talk to you later. Adios.